Here we are, the end of November. It's almost 60 degrees here today. This is the house. The house faces west. And then we come over here and we look, and we're on the north side of the front door. Our rain gutter discharges water directly onto the roof covering. But we do have kick-out flashing. That's a good thing. But our rain gutter butt ends are supposed to be about an inch or more away from the brick wall. And we have our window right here, fenestration. Just imagine the water coming down here, running down the roof. All this water coming down here. Kick-out flashing kicks it away, but this is your downspout is behind the kick-out flashing. So all this water is going to be coming back over here, and the rain gutter butt end should have been about an inch away. Good luck with that, but I'm just telling you how it should be. Moving on along, we've got continuous soffit vents. That gives us a clue. We've got this nice turret detail here, and the rain gutter again is too close. We got a little bit of cracking. This is the keystone right here. And we got a little bit of cracking between the keystone and the dormer window up above. See this rain gutter right there? That one's about an inch away. That's the way they all should look, like that one. It's probably an accident, but there we are. Rain gutters on the top again. Where do termites live? In the ground. Oh, what do they eat? Dead wood. Oh. What's wood mulch? Dead wood on the ground next to your house. That's called a clue. That's called a clue. So if you call me in a couple years and you say, "Hey, bud, we found some termites in the house," imagine that. I'm gonna go like, "You meaning that wood mulch next to your house by the front door?" You're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I told you so." Now these little box bushes right here. Well, actually these are hollies. These little box bushes right here. They're cute when they're small. Now they're growing up. See how the stems are all dead? And they'll keep growing up higher and higher and higher. So it's about time to rotate these out, move them someplace where they can be at home. These are too large for their application, and the roots are drawing moisture from underneath the house as well. So I get it. You know, you look at them and at first glance, those are box bushes, actually, and but yeah, it's time. They're only going to grow again. You know, you're going to be looking at the stalks. Now on the lawn sprinkler, this irrigation hoses, they're allowed to be exposed like they are. I imagine at one time that they were covered over, but they're allowed to be exposed like this so long as the staples that hold them in place are no farther apart than 12 inches, and these staples are farther apart than 12 inches. So if you're going to be exposed, you need some more staples, or maybe you want to bring some more wood mulch in here and feed some more termites. So those bushes are too close, and those bushes are too close. But that's the way it's looking right on here. We're kind of rolling on around because we're around rollers. A tree should not be placed closer than 25 feet to a slab foundation to allow for root growth and branches. Okay, otherwise they're sucking the moisture out from underneath your foundation. Their roots are growing and causing the house to move. So there's lots of reasons why your tree shouldn't be so close to the foundation. Now I've said that, but if I look around, I see you got a tree, and every yard's got a tree in the front yard. It may be the homeowners association, and a lot of them have them on the corners too. So that one doesn't. So you might be able to do something with your corner trees. I'm not sure, but the ones in the middle of the yard, it's probably not an option. It may be. You want to check into it, but there's that coming on along. And that little bit of movement over the front door was about all that I've noticed so far. But this is my second time around, and in my business, you see something twice, you see something else. So we're going to keep on rolling. Now we're going counterclockwise, so that was the west side. So this means that we're on the south side of the house. Our rain gutters do not discharge water far enough away from the structure. Okay. Our gas meter is over here on the north side of the house. And our lawn sprinkler head, you see that? What do you think that's going to do to your fence over time? No, your sprinkler head's too close to the fence. All right, it is. Sorry. Moving on along. Now back up a little bit here. Backing up on what? I'm backing up into a ditch, am I? Yeah. Got some water runoff from this side somewhere. Something's going on with your neighbors. So it's not really yours. Coming on up here. And if you look up here, you'll see some missing shingles. Got some loose shingles right here. And then we got the missing shingles up there. Sure do. And then we look at our ridge row. You see the corners on our ridge row right up there. See if we can see the corners on our ridge row, and you see how they're kind of peeling up. You think wind-driven rain can get up in there? I do. I think wind could rip those off. Yeah. You know, if you get enough wind, anything will get ripped off. But that's beside the point. That's beside the point. Now, if we were doing a wood-destroying insect report, and I don't think we are, but if we were doing a wood-destroying insect report, then I would say this fence is conducive to wood-destroying insects, termites specifically, by design, because it's in direct contact with the structure. But we want a fence, so it's called by design. That's what it's called, by design. Okay, this is the gas meter. I'm going to wait and address this later in a later video, so you'll see it. We'll be talking about it. Oh, and right here, see these little holes right here? All right, there's two kinds of critters that kind of come through these holes like this. So I'd like to say that you got rabbits. You might have rabbits coming through here, and that's kind of cute unless you've got a garden. But also skunks. Skunks will come through there. And skunks are really cute. They're really docile. The only problem with skunks is they stink and they carry rabies. So that's not so good. But you know, let's hope it's rabbits. I got a skunk that visits my backyard every once in a while. They're not that bad. They're kind of cute. You know, just don't upset them because they'll let you know. All right. Moving on along over here, we got some shingles, just kind of storing some of these shingles. Where'd they come from? Well, I can see this shingle came from here. Okay, from that spot. So we've probably had another spot around here. Coming on around, look at this. This is called a control joint. All right. You're not going to have this much brick wall and not have some movement. Some people call them expansion joints. That's okay. Call it what you will. So we're not going to have this much movement. I mean, this much brick without some movement. So we're trying to control that movement that will occur. This sealant gets dry. What does sealant do? It gets dry and shrinks and pulls away from the material. So you got to come over here and check it about every year and make sure that it seals. Now, brick is a very good building material. Again, architecture is regional. This house could burn down, you could reuse the brick. Okay? So, and I hope that doesn't happen. But brick is porous. And water, it's a very good insulator for sound. It's a very good insulator for temperature. It's a good product. It's a very good product. But it's porous. And water runs right through it. And so what we have here is we have these little weep holes. And we have them over our lintels too. Or the metal lintels that hold the brick up. We won't have one over an arch. But over the lintels, we've disrupted the drainage plane. Anytime the drainage plane has been disrupted, it ends here at your foundation. Anytime the foundation plane ends, okay, then we need a way for the water to escape. Now, most of the time, you're only going to see, and you're not going to see anything. Most of the time, it's going to be water vapor, because it's the water goes through, and it happens, you know, so the pressure and the water vapor escapes. Most of the times, that's what happens. If you have an event in the house, I've seen a couple, I hope you don't, but water will come out of these holes. But those holes are for design. They make little plastic inserts that are perforated that you can slide into there if you're worried about critters, if you're worried about insects and stuff getting in there. Some people, you know, develop an ant problem, for example, or something like that, then you would put those little inserts in there, but you do not seal those up. And so, well, let's see, every once in a while you see a brick right here, right? And kind of like if you study, it's like, oh, that brick has been moved. That brick has been moved. That brick has been moved. See, when the house was bricked up, they left those bricks out. So the code inspector can come in with a mirror and check behind them to make sure that you do have that drainage plane that I'm talking about, because the brick is porous. So the code inspector wanted to confirm that the drainage plane was intact, and then after he gave them the okay, then they went and they put the boards back in there. We got double pane vinyl frame windows, okay, and these windows, they're holes in your walls, okay. And so if you study a window, you'll notice that the frame and everything is engineered, it's built, it's designed so that it sheds water to the exterior. And just like we have the weep holes on the brick, we have the weep holes on our windows too. But see, this one's got a weep hole, a trap right here. Let's see. Yeah. We don't have one over here. You can buy a whole bag of them for like $12 unless there's a tariff on it or something. All right. So, and I say a bag like 120 or whatever. They're very inexpensive. Most home inspectors, I'm not required to tell you about that, but I will say, and some windows are designed without the traps. Okay, without the weir traps. Okay, that's your weir, and that's your weir trap. And but if the wind's blowing real hard on some day, it might whistle. Other than that, you're not going to notice anything about it. So, again, is that correct? No, it's not correct. Is it a big deal? It's de minimis. It's de minimis. It's hardly worth considering, But, and again, I might be the only home inspector around that's calling that out. Look at there, we got a gap between our brick right here. Okay, that should be sealed up. See that guy right there? Okay, that's not a weep hole. Brick is porous. It does let water in. We design our building for that. We don't want more water than usual coming in. We don't want the lawn sprinkler system beating our wall every morning at 6 o'clock. Okay, we don't need that because the wall was not designed to handle that kind of abuse. Now, you bring a storm in, we're good, but no. Okay, coming on along. Now our foundation, we've got a slab foundation, concrete slab foundation. In fact, if I come over here, I think if I use my forensic imagination, I can see, yep, there we got some post-tension cable, which means we got steel cables running through, makes it a lot stronger. So, but anyway, we got a concrete slab foundation, and what we've done, we put a cake frosting around the perimeter. Okay, that's an aesthetic. That's so it looks better. Now, just because the cake frosting is cracked doesn't mean the cake is cracked. Just because the parge coat is cracked doesn't mean your foundation is cracked. And conversely, just because the frosting is not cracked doesn't mean that your foundation is not cracked. But it's just an aesthetic that's just going around. I'm going to do a measurement. Okay, we're going moving on along around here. Let's see, because we're lookers. We're looking some more. Okay, that splash block is inadequate. Okay, this is supposed to come out several feet. Now, when people trip on it, okay, people step on it, the lawnmowers, the lawn crew, all that kind of stuff. Alright, so there's a reason why we want them kind of close to the house like that, but it does not benefit the structure. It does not benefit the structure enough. And so they need to, sometimes you go underground. In fact, one around the corner we're going to come to, I'll use that as an example. But that should come, as a, it comes out over here somewhere and then goes down. So that's one way to do it. They have some that roll out. They have some that fold down. They've got all kinds. But I found that those, it's bad enough. I say bad enough. But every once in a while, I've got a rain gutter drain downspout that goes underground. And every once in a while, I have to open up the, I say like every 10 years, I have to open up the strainer and kind of route the stuff out of it so that it drains like it's supposed to. But if you get those things that roll up and fold down, they're going to be even worse. They're going to be even worse. They're going to take a lot more maintenance. So that's what we got. It's too close to the house. All roads lead to Rome. There's several solutions to that. So we've got another control joint right there. Now see this pipe right here? This is for your air conditioning system. All right. So that is your secondary drain. See it? That is your right there. That's your secondary drain for your safety pan. If your primary drain gets clogged, your air conditioning system's in the attic. If your primary drain gets clogged, then you go through your second. That's your donut tire. So the first drain got clogged. What's going to happen if the second drain gets clogged? It's going to come through your ceiling. It's going to come through your roof. So come through your ceiling from your attic. So we put these pipes over the windows. And so if you're inside and you look out and you see water coming down from that, and some of your friends will tell you, oh, that's just the air conditioner. I said, yeah, that's just your sick air conditioner. It's time to get somebody out here to work on it. Okay, so that's what that means. So moving on along. We got a whole video to the condensing units over here, and then we come up over here and we're looking at the roof again some more. We're going to put a ladder next to the house. We're going to go with camera pole, but look up here. Okay, we got some details right here that are kind of visible, and what we're going here is those shingles right there on the fence. Okay, I'm thinking they came from right there. I'm thinking they came from right there. And then see how these shingles are like little birds' mouths are peeling up like that? You think wind can get in there and rip the shingles off? I think it already happened. I think that's a good example of why you don't want your shingles to look like that. They should be flat so that the water cascades down off of your roof. This is the vent for your kitchen. Oh, wait a minute. Let's zoom out here a little bit. Moving on. No rain gutter at all. I mean, no rain gutter downspout splash block. Okay, there it is over here. And they roll them out backwards. And sometimes people tell you, oh, that's so the water fans out. No. They need to take water farther away from the structure. That's just the way it works sometimes. Okay, what do we got over here? What we got over here is this neighborhood is cut and fill. So they'll make a lot level, and then they'll take the dirt and they'll build it up and they'll make the other lot level, and it's just, you know, it's a leapfrog type of operation. If that's done properly, we don't have a problem. Now here's the thing about let me get my thoughts straight here. Here's the thing about retaining walls. Okay, I don't do land surveys, but if a retaining wall is twice its height away from the structure, then it has no immediate effect on the structure and is beyond the scope of my inspection. This inspection. Most inspections, you know, unless you're getting a geo inspection or something, but a typical TREC home inspection is beyond the scope. It's twice the height. This may belong to the community. You have a homeowners association. That might belong to the community, or it might belong to somebody. And again, I don't do surveys, but in most cases, the retaining wall belongs to the person whose property it is retaining, usually the high ground. So this retaining wall is either a community issue, a homeowner's issue, or it's your neighbor behind you. It's their issue. It's one or the other. It's not usually your issue. It's not retaining your property. And it's more than twice its height from the foundation. So again, this whole retaining wall could fall down and it's not going to affect the house. Okay. Eventually, everything affects your house. In fact, here's a story about a house. From the day your house is built, nature tries to take it back. And so what we do is we do maintenance, and we try to keep it. And so this is the way it works. Let's move over here to the patio here a little bit. We got some party lights up here. Hey, doggy, let's get a cigar and a beer. We're good to go. Okay. But you're not supposed to use extension cords in permitted applications. And this will not be on my report because it has been unplugged. And it was not unplugged by me. You can still see the dust around it. Okay. But if this was plugged in, and I found this plugged in, you're going to switch over here. Then I'd say you're not supposed to use, temporary, novelty lights in a permanent application. Does it look like my house? Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Weep holes. We're doing good. All right. Rolling on around. Now, this is just a note. Sometimes we say what we got and what we don't have. All right. I do not see a gas port out here for a barbecue. So if you wanted to, bring cooking equipment out It's either going to be a natural, wood burning charcoal type operation, or a propane tank, a portable propane tank, or something like that. But we do not have anything like that going on over here. Again, I was noticing this when I was talking to my client. Let's see how this works here a little bit. Let's see. Here and now. Measure. Level. Yeah, 2 degrees of pitch. Okay, I thought it'd be nicer if it was 1 degree pitch. I knew it was marginal. Okay, windows. We're trying to divert the water out away from the living space. So some of these window ledges are marginal in regard to draining the water off away from the house. I think my client must have thought I was daydreaming. See, that's zero. That's zero right there. Look at that. So, are you paying attention to me? No, I was looking at that. Zero. Look at that. All right. So there's not enough pitch on the primary bedroom windows. Hang on 1 second. See my method here. Cycle through. Not enough pitch on the primary bedroom window sills. Rolling on and rolling on and rolling on. Okay. So this is the north slope, and we're not through looking at it. But it looks a little better than the south slope. I spoke to my clients about this. You know what I'm not seeing? Oh yeah, I am. Never mind. Okay. But this is your fresh air induction vents, and we're supposed to have screens on them because we don't want birds in there. Okay, there's ductwork that goes in and introduces fresh air into the living space because this is a nice tight house. It's only a few years old, and so we don't want sick house syndrome. So that's why we have these vents. They let in a little bit of air, it goes through a heat exchanger, and it's a good thing. And we want those. And we want the screens because of the birds. But this house faces north, and most of our storms come from the northeast. We inherit Seattle's weather, okay? And so they come down, and on an extremely cold day in February, maybe, every few years, maybe, it's possible, maybe, that those would freeze up and they would starve the air, and then the furnace has a sensor and the furnace wouldn't come on that coldest day. But that's just a potential. That's not a promise, not a guarantee. Okay. And again, your rain gutters should not drain directly onto your roof covering. It's going to cause the roof to wear out faster there. Now, having said that, in North Texas, our roofs last about 14 years. This house is like 8 years old. So you got a few more years left in it. Most insurance companies do not like to start a relationship with a roof that's over 14 years. You already have insurance on policy on it, you won't be able to shop it. But if you keep your insurance policy, you will not get canceled on the roof's 14th birthday. They'll keep going and going and going. But just to let you know how long they last, because on an average they last about 14 years, I don't know, sometimes the cure is worse than the ill. I'm just telling you, that's not a proper installation. The solution would be put a drain pipe, a downspout down to this gutter. That would look horrible. So somebody's made a decision that I don't disagree with. Let it be what it is. It's the best solution, for the interim. It looks better. And again, are you going to realize any what is the potential for realizing problems is small, very, very small. Okay, got a little shingles right over here too, right there at the ridge where we're coming over here off of the garage, right up there. We're looking into the sun, so you probably won't be able to see that. Okay, this is going to speak to the water heater video. And so I'm going to mention it on the water heater video, but you know, for brevity, we're just going to talk about it. Brevity, right? Okay, we're going to talk about it right here. This is the pressure relief valve drain pipe for the tankless water heater. These pipes are supposed to terminate between 6 and 3 inches from the ground. That looks like it's about 10 inches. So that pipe, or maybe more, maybe 11. I don't know, 10 inches. It's higher than 6, I know that. I know it's higher than 6, and so it's a little high. So when the water comes out of that, it comes out at 200 pounds 200 pounds of pressure. Now the good news is, since it's a tankless, you're not storing hot water, and so the water that comes out here won't be that hot. So is it technically correct? No. But it's not getting beat up by the weed whackers. It's not getting beat up by the yard people. When the water does come out, it's not going to be that hot. It's not right, but it's not bad. Okay. Moving on along. Fence touching the house. Like I said, we want that. We're going to save this. We're going to save this. But, you know what? We're going to save that. But speaking of the weed whackers and the damage that they can do, oh man, sorry, I bet that was confusing. Okay, speaking of the damage they can do, see, that's your boot. This rain gutter is like the ones I was explaining, and let's see where you come out. It'll come out here somewhere, where it's not a nuisance. It will. This is what I was advocating for on the other side, and this is the damage the weed whackers can do. That's your control wire for your lawn sprinkler system. Wood mulch too close to the house. We got cut stone. I like that. We had started off with cut stone. So we got very little wooden siding, which is great because it doesn't last like wood, and it's never done right. So we're fine there. Trees touching the house right in there. Moving on along.